who all think little Timmy can do no wrong. Fuck you, Karen. Yeah, moving on. Restricting vape packaging and presentation. Yeah, option 3, prohibiting the use of all imagery and colouring and branding. In other words, standardising packaging for both the vape packaging and the vape device. 46.1%, the majority winner of that. Yeah, goes in. Alright, here we go with the government response. So if we go down here, we keep going down, there's another one down here which is basically the government response at the very end of what they are entailing to do next. If I can find it, where are we here? It is there. Summary of next steps. After considering the responses to this consultation, the UK government will work with the devolved administrations to bring forward legislation. The UK government and devolved administrations will work together to ensure as far as possible that recommendations and actions are adopted in a consistent manner across the UK. To ensure regulatory alignment, a restored Northern Ireland Executive and Assembly will need to make decisions on any policies within devolved competence. To create the first smoke-free generation, the UK government will legislate to make it an offence for anyone born on or after the 1st of January 2009 to be sold tobacco products, prohibit proxy sales in line with the change in age of sale legislation, include all tobacco products, herbal smoking products and cigarette papers in scope, require warning notices in retail premises to read "It is illegal to sell tobacco products to anyone born on or after the 1st of January 2009 when the smoke-free legislation comes into effect." Here we go. To tackle the rise in youth vaping, the UK government will take powers to make regulations to now read this. The UK government will take powers to make regulations to, which means this is already on the books. They're already going to do it. Number 1, restrict vape flavours. Number 2, restrict how vapes are displayed in stores. Number 3, restrict packaging and product presentation for vapes. Number 4, apply the above restrictions to non-nicotine vapes and other consumer nicotine products such as nicotine pouches. So all you juice manufacturers who are out there saying that shortfills will not be touched because there's no nicotine, number 4 wipes out your argument. Wipes it out. Apply the above restrictions to non-nicotine vapes. Shortfills, longfills, all under the same regulation now. All of them are under the same regulation. So if a flavour ban does get introduced, the escape plan that some e-liquid manufacturers were thinking about of saying, well, it doesn't include us because our juices don't contain nicotine, doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter because they've just closed that loophole. That loophole was closed yesterday. Apply the above restrictions to non-nicotine vapes. Your loophole is closed. Gone. You have no escape. Maybe now you'll actually fucking do something. Probably not, though. Reading on. The UK government intends these measures to be taken forward in secondary legislation, which will be subject to further consultation. The UK government thinks there is a strong case to take action to reduce the affordability of vapes and is continuing to consider options, including a new duty to achieve this. Remember what I was talking about in the previous video? That woman, Cheeseman, Helen something Cheeseman, she was talking about tax. She was talking about minimum pricing restrictions. It looks like the government's actually taking her advice now. Yeah. So essentially, people, even though there has been a slight shift in one or two of the options here, a slight shift, in our favour. The breakdown of this is simple. The government's going ahead with it. They're going ahead with it. They're already going to introduce legislation on the table, subject to a second consultation. And this second consultation is going to affect your shortfills. It's going to affect your longfills. Doesn't matter, because if it's a non-nicotine vape, it's going to be included in this. Doesn't matter. Especially the shortfills, because shortfills generally come like this, all ready to just dump the nicotine into it. This is going to be affected as well. They've closed that loophole, folks. The loophole's gone. It's gone. So as UK VIA sit on their collective asses with their thumbs up their ass, as other trade groups are getting together planning things, this is what the government's now doing. This is what the government now has announced. This is what is going to happen. Everyone in the e-liquid industry should be very, very worried right now. Very worried right now, because it looks as if the UK government already know some of the loopholes that need to be closed, because they've already closed one of the biggest ones out there. They are now classing and naming this as a non-nicotine vape, which means this is being included along with all the other shortfills, all the other longfills, into the current legislation package. There is no escape from this. There is no escape from this. Yup. Ages ago, fucking ages ago, I basically said that what's more than likely going to happen is the UK government are going to be finding ways to essentially close down the loopholes which punched holes into the TRPR. And let's face it, the shortfill and longfill stuff that went on punched massive holes through the TRPR. Well, those holes are being closed. Right now. Right now they're being closed. There's no escape. Absolutely no escape. Yeah. All you juice manufacturers out there that are a member of UK VIA and a member of the IBVTA, you should be worried now. You should be asking questions as to why UK VIA and the IBVTA have said absolutely nothing about the updated paper from yesterday. You should be asking questions why UK VIA, the IBVTA and the NNA were not at the public consultation video that I showed in the previous one. You should be asking questions. Where the fuck is my money going? UK VIA, IBVTA, what the fuck are you spending it on? Because you're obviously not spending it on fucking advocacy. So where's the fuck's the money going? Where's the money going? It's the same question that Americans should have been asking CASA as far back as half a decade ago, but nobody did. And all CASA done was keep begging for more and more money for what is basically an email server that could cost £100 a month to run. But CASA was raking in tens of thousands. What good was CASA? Well, in the end, fuck all good. And it looks as if we're heading down the same fucking path with UK VIA and the IBVTA. All you trade organisations out there that's a member of these two trade bodies, I would be asking serious questions right now. Especially if you're a juice manufacturer. Especially if you're a vape shop. Especially if you're a wholesaler and distributor. The updated paper that was launched yesterday, February the 12th, has closed the shortfill and longfill loophole. There is no way round this now. None. None at all. And I don't care how many half-wit e-liquid manufacturers out there think they can come up with a way to, I know a way to go round. No, you fucking don't. You're an idiot that makes shitty, over-sweetened liquids. Shut the fuck up and actually read what the government's actually wrote. You dumb fuck. Which is about half of the e-liquid manufacturers currently in the UK. They're all dumb fucks. They honestly are. Oh, my liquids don't come under that because my liquids are in a different shaped... This was one of the arguments by some idiot in a fucking Facebook group. My liquid bottles are in a different shape bottle. Are you fucking serious, dude? Serious? Shortfills and longfills are now under the same jurisdiction. If there's nicotine in it or not, it doesn't fucking matter now. Doesn't matter. And I said this was going to fucking happen. Did anybody listen? Some of you did, but the majority of you didn't. Guess what? I'm right, you're wrong. 3 words. Told you so. This is what happens when people generally tend to ignore the ranty little Scotsman. But here's the thing, the ranty little Scotsman has got a nasty tendency of getting things right. And here's one classic fucking example. Your loophole is closed, people. You can now officially start panicking. As I fill up my tank with a shortfill bottle that's now under the same legislative act. I don't know. I honestly don't fucking know. Things are moving so fucking fast right now. So fast. In the space of 2.5 weeks, you need to remember this, in the space of 2.5 weeks, the UK government has done a complete 180 on their stance of vaping. The UK government has decided they're going to go after flavours. The UK government has decided to ban disposables. The UK government has closed the shortfill and longfill loophole. The UK government has enacted a whole host of brand new laws to do with vaping and smoking. The UK government has sent a clear message to the UK vaping industry that you are now on warning, and the UK government is going to force through, or at least have some kind of forced legislation passed through, which will lead to the final point, point number 8, a second overall public consultation. And this is where we are all heading towards. We are all heading towards a second public consultation. Now, if that second public consultation ends up with results as bad as the last one, it's over. We are done. It is finished. Because by that point in time, it will be the Labour Party in power, and they will essentially take each and every point from that public consultation and turn it into law, because the Labour Party hate vaping. As I have been saying for the past half decade. But fine, don't believe me if you don't want to. You're probably some left-wing fucking nutcase if you don't believe me, and you're probably a Labour supporter. Hey, I used to be a Labour supporter as well, until most of them turned into stupid communists. That's why I don't support Labour anymore. Labour want to control everything. It's been the bedrock of Labour since Tony Blair was Prime Minister and turned it into New Labour. Even as we look at Keir Starmer's Labour, they want to control everything. Everything. None of this hands-off approach that the Tory party did with vaping for the past 10 years, up until now at least. The Labour Party want to control everything. If it was up to the Labour Party, they would take the UK vaping industry and sell it to either Big Pharma or Big Tobacco, lock, stock and 2 smoking barrels. And they would think nothing of it. This is the Labour Party we're going to get in next year. Yeah. I know there is a WhatsApp group that's currently being set up, made up by trade people and trade organisations within the UK industry who are mostly not part of UKVIA. And I know that this trade group or new trade organisation that are currently meeting on WhatsApp are busy planning some kind of thing to counteract what the government's doing. No doubt this video is going to make it into that group, and all I'm going to say to these people these folks that are in this WhatsApp group, you have 2 months. That's the deadline you've got. The way that I'm looking at this, you've got 2 months. You've got 2 months to do the following. Number one, set up a website or some kind of all-encompassing website, which could be linked, or the link could be given to trade people, it could be given to vapors, it could be given to vape shops, it could be given to wholesalers, it could be given to distributors. You need to use that website, not a Facebook group, not a Facebook page, none of this pish, an actual website with a dedicated URL. And that website could be there for people to sign up to. Call it a £10 subscription fee, £10 a month, £15 a month, something nice and low that the general public can get involved with. The second thing that you need to do is you need to get the big chain stores involved. You need to get VPZ. You need to get Totally Wicked on board with this. And on Totally Wicked and VPZ's desktop counters in their brick and mortar stores, they need to be giving out leaflets that are advertising the fact that the UK government and the future UK government under Labour will be going after your customers' flavours. Big headline, do you want to vape and tobacco e-liquids? Sub-headline, the UK government wants you to. That's all you need. Those 2 lines at the top of an A4 sized leaflet. Do you want to vape and tobacco flavoured e-liquids? Subtitle headline, the UK government wants you to. That's all you need. That would instantly get people's attention that walks into the VPZ vape shops. This needs to be a groundswell effort. It needs to start from the ground up. The big problem that's been happening with all of these advocacy groups, especially the ones over in the United States, they started top down. To get real advocacy working, you need to build it from the ground up, because advocacy only works if the people on the ground know it's actually happening. It's all good setting up a trade organisation like UKVIA that sits around and does fuck all for most of the time, but it's all good setting up a trade organisation. But if that trade organisation doesn't have people on the ground who are paying the money to get those different companies' stuff, then you're not going to get the groundswell of support from the 3.5 to 4.2 million vapors in the UK. If any advocacy group in the UK can tap in to even 20% of that number, I mean, look at it, 20% of 4.2 million. Doesn't sound like a lot, 20%, but you're looking at a trade organisation that's going to have hundreds of thousands of members. And when you get to that number level, the UK government can no longer ignore you. You need the groundswell support. Going down the road of a trade-only group based on WhatsApp or something is simply not going to work now. Because again, I've got the gut feeling that the UK government is no longer listening to UKVIA, a trade organisation. They're no longer listening to the IBVTA, a trade organisation. You get my fucking hint yet, folks? Have you got my hints yet? You need groundswell basic support from the people on the ground that's actually buying the products. If you don't get that support, your advocacy's not going to go anywhere. I can guarantee you it's not going to go anywhere. The UK Gov has announced that the shortfill and longfill loopholes are now closed. The question is, to any of these organisations that are setting up an actual working counterpoint to UKVIA, the question is, what are you going to do next to answer them back? That's it from me, folks. Have a good one.